Now it should be freaking working. Damn, when it comes to these freaking things, I'm like, gotta check. Wait, did I click the button? Did I make sure this is powered on? Did I make sure I clicked that button? Did I make sure I turned on the light? Did I make sure I. There's a lot of stuff that goes into all of this, like legit, which kind of brings me into the topic, or, well, the title. It's been a long, long freaking road, but holy freaking crap. Last week, the channel finally reached 10,000 subscribers. I was like sitting here like, yo, I looked at it, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna reach it like until probably like a few more weeks. And then I know where I checked, and it's like, I'm like, oh crap, never mind. Bet. All right, cool. Like I said, 9,990. I was like, all right. And then I check again. Like I said, 9,999. I'm like, okay. I said, let me just sit here for a minute and be like, okay, I want to catch the moment. So I was like, could I hit that refresh? I was like on my computer, but I had my phone too, so I was like F5 refresh, just freaking swipe down, refresh. Like, all right, and then I hit it, saw it. I was like 10K. I said, oh bet, okay, cool. We lit like a Christmas tree here. All right, it's a milestone, and I believe like achievements and things of that nature should be celebrated. You know, um, some things aren't like a big deal to some people. You know, to me, I still obviously have much bigger goals and all that. I'm already looking at over the horizon, trying to find out what's next. That next milestone. 50,000, 100,000, whatever, 25,000, every one gets me a quarter of the way, half the way, a third of the way, freaking all the way, whatever it is. I just remember I was like mad excited. I was texting somebody and I was like, yo, I'm about to reach it. Oh my God. And then I did. Like, congratulations. I'm like, finally. Also, it's another occasion that I saw. Well, actually, more, yeah, a few occasions right around this time. My birthday was this week, which is whatever. I'm getting old. Freaking getting old. Like, I still get comments from people like, yo, how old are you? And I'd be like, or just even like in my day-to-day life, I'm like, I tell them, and they just be like, they just be surprised. They're like, nah. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yes. People would be like, don't tell anyone your age because they'll never believe you. You look so much younger. I'm like, I kind of wish I was still younger. What the hell? I haven't drank ginger ale in like months. How do people drink this? Damn. So besides the fact that finally like reached one milestone with this in this long arduous journey, because I started the channel in, let me see, the end of 2021 actually, during the pandemic, you know, and damn, so it's been almost 3 months. It's been almost freaking 3 years. In a few months, it'll be 3 years. That's crazy to me. There's been ups, downs, peaks, valleys, all that stuff. But I'm kind of like, hey, You got to roll with the punches and whatnot. Sometimes it's really freaking slow. Sometimes it picked the hell up, and I'm suddenly getting like thousands and thousands of views like that, and I'm just like, that's crazy. Hell, I like it. I love it. You know, kind of wish the peaks can go on forever, but that's also what helps motivate you when you're hitting low points. When you hit those valleys, you gotta remember what those peaks were like to motivate you to keep going. You know, you gotta seek inspiration out in other places, all that good stuff. I'm not a motivational speaker. I just freaking talk a lot and know a lot about rap at the end of the day. Even though some people in the comment section might like have some freaking pretty trashy opinions about that. But besides that, I was looking through like all the different because I covered a lot of rap beefs. So I was looking through all the rap beefs I've covered and whatnot, and thinking about which one to talk about next. Which one. You know, I get recommendations sometimes in the comment section. People are like, "Oh, can you talk about this one? Can you talk about that one?" So on and so forth. And I'm just like, "Yeah, I mean, why not?" I put it in consideration. You know what I mean? I got a whole freaking list of ones and a bunch of different ideas because something people forget. Something people forget is that it's not a channel about like rap beefs, battle raps, things of that nature. It's a channel about hip hop as a whole. You know, whatever topic that I specifically want to talk about, or if people recommend it and I think that it's like worth talking about and I have something to say on the matter, then that too, you know. It's not just like, oh, you know, covering all the 50 Cent's beefs because he's like the freaking beef king of New York or whatever. That's not the case. Even though some people, once again, still have this misconception of that. But that's just because that's what they like, you know. But you look for what you like. It is what it is. It's fine, you know. But I was looking at the different rap beefs that I covered, look at the whole list, and I was like, oh crap. I was like, I've already covered like done videos, 49 different videos of rap beefs, and I'm like, damn, I'm about to hit 50 now. And I was thinking like, is there any other genre of music? As much as I love rap with a passion. Like probably like 80% of like what I listen to is rap. Maybe 85, honestly, like if not a little higher. And I was just like, yo, is there any other genre of music that is this full of like lyrical sparring, like battling, you know, competition on wax? Well, now it's all mostly digital, but it originated like on wax and whatnot, and freestyles, not even being recorded, like Kumo D, and Busy B, stuff like that. But it's crazy. I always make it a habit to, point out when you know there's been rap beefs that I'm covering that stayed on wax. It stayed being a lyrical competition rather than getting physical because of like heightened emotions and disrespect and things of that nature, you know, because it's important. I feel like to not have things getting to the point where it's violence, especially because it's rapped about so much and it's become like a cliche or stereotype at this point. But unfortunately, that stigma remains with us as a hip hop community, but also in the African American community as a whole. You know, even if you're not a rapper, there's that whole stigma, that negative connotation or stereotype about like being violent and things of that nature. And some of the things that's said doesn't really help. It has it's a bit negative to say the least. And, sometimes negativity it's unavoidable. Don't get me wrong. Everything can't be freaking sunshine, flowers, roses, positivity, all that good stuff. Um, some might say that would even get a little bit boring, to be honest, which I get it, makes sense. But I'm just like, I want to do more. I want to do more branching out and covering more things that go on in hip hop. And it's not always the easiest thing to do to introduce something new to people who are used to like seeing this or hearing this or whatnot. Um, I guess it comes down to like expectations. You know, I'm not drinking anything carbonated. Like again, like what the hell? But it is a challenge. You know, when your audience gets used to getting A from you, and you want to switch to B, it's just like they don't see that it's kind of like growth, you know, or experimenting. Kind of like when Ye put out 808s and Heartbreak, and everybody's like, you put out 3 albums that people consider like classic or like amazing or whatever, and then you're like auto tuned, and I don't like the album myself. I'm not a fan of it, but it was different. It was different. Just like hell, Yeezus was different too. His fifth album. I mean, sixth album rather. Sometimes you gotta switch things up. Sometimes you gotta change things up. That's just how it goes. You know. Personally, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. Like I said, hip hop as a whole is my goal and my freaking passion, my life, whatever you want to call it. It just is. But sometimes the response I get when I'm like not talking about a rap beef is like, come on, people, like, chill out. I'll get back to that. You know, I be looking at the comments, I be looking at the analytics, the views, all that stuff. I'm just like, all right, you know. But since this is a live stream about, you know, reaching that milestone, like I said a few minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, whatever, you know, I do want to quickly just say, like, it's a really good feeling, you know, because when I first started, I didn't know if it was gonna go anywhere. I didn't know if I was gonna get any views from sitting here and doing all this researching, listening, freaking typing, you know, structuring everything, organizing it, and making timelines out of all these different situations. You know what I mean? And I was just like, oh man, like, that's crazy. Like, I remember oh, this is a throwback. This is a freaking throwback. I think it was like the end of October, maybe, or something like that. I put out the first video on the channel, DJ Quick versus MC8. Because I remember I was like talking to a friend of mine, like, yo, like, and I'm gonna start by covering rap beefs because I love some of these diss tracks. They're like amazing because I already had in my mind like some of my favorite diss tracks, and I was like, I want to know sometimes all the other details around the situation, and I was like, other people probably want to know too what caused them to say these things about each other. That's crazy, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, yo, someone's gotta do it. Now, granted, there's a few other people that do break this stuff down, detail it, all that stuff, but to keep it 100, there's not really a lot of black people out there doing it, and it's our culture. So that's another thing that really motivated or inspired me to do it myself, take it upon myself to do so, because I'm like, I'm like, the white man's ice isn't colder. It's just that's all an illusion. You know, and we got to break out of that. Um, you can guess, of course, like what other channels do it. It's kind of obvious if you just go to Google or YouTube and search certain things. They pop up. It is what it is. But I just always found that pretty interesting that you know there's so many non-black people covering hip hop. You know, that speaks for one to the widespread, how widespread it has gotten over the past 51 years now. um they gave hip hop a birth date of August 11th, 1973. So this week would make 51 years. I remember last year I did a live stream for the 50th anniversary of it, when I was just talking a bit about rap in general and so on and so forth, which was interesting. It's funny, around this time now I'm doing this with this, you know what I mean? But it's it's interesting, you know. But I'm just like, yo, Casson, thank you, congratulations, Luke, thank you, freaking like I was saying, it's like a freaking, it's just another milestone trying to reach this point that I'm trying to get to. That, I mean, hey, um I'm not saying I want to be the number one person like covering hip hop in the like digital space, because I really don't. I'm not that freaking competitive like that. Honestly, it's like it's whatever, you know. But definitely have aspirations and goals that are, I'd say, are pretty big, though, you know. But yeah, it's just crazy to me the amount of just like sometimes our goal looking for you know black owned, um in this situation, YouTube channels or pages online, social media or websites or whatever, and it's very difficult to find. It's They're really in the minority, even in areas where you think we would not be. Like, once again, hip hop, you know, and that's something I feel pretty strongly about. I've probably mentioned it before, like in a live stream or something like that, whatever. But yeah, I don't fully understand it. Sometimes I feel like it comes from a level of I want to say a lack of resources, as the community is, like, I would say, fairly impoverished, you know, especially hip hop originating in New York, in the Bronx in particular. Um, but, also a lot of selling out, a lot of misunderstandings, miscommunication, miseducation, and mishandling. A lot of misses, really, when it comes to the culture, the craft, the creativity, so on and so forth. Like, honestly, I would love to, like, collaborate with fellow, like, you know people that are passionate about hip hop and whatnot, like I am. You know, like content creators or whatever. Really, that'd be, to me, that'd be pretty cool. But it's like, it's kind of a challenge, because you have to be good at, I would say you have to be good at the social aspect that comes along with that social media thing, and That's not my forte. And on top of that, it's like a certain level of what to call it, when you're doing your own thing by yourself and it's just you. There's a certain level of control that you have that you just don't have to the extent when you are working or collaborating with someone else. And you have to be willing to give up that control and things of that nature to work together with someone else. Kind of like any kind of like relationship, business, personal, romantic, so on and so forth. Yeah, but also you have to have something to, not to give, I guess you could say, but to offer. You know, um, often I see that people say it has to, make sense. You know, just like hell, taking it back to rap. When rappers collaborate with one another, they typically do it A, for the money, or B, um, because they really get along with each other, or they feel like their styles complement one another, nicely on the track, you know, which is fair. It makes perfect sense, you know, um, especially when there's a difference in the size, I guess you could say, pause, of the damn, what's it called? Well, when it comes to this, you know, if someone has a huge audience and they're pretty good on their own, you have to question, well, why would they work with someone smaller, so to speak? Um, because there has to be like a mutually beneficial situation, pretty much. Because if it's one sided, it's very rare that people are willing to do so, unless of course it's just out of the goodness out of their hearts, which some people, of course, I'm sure are down for. But I feel like that's far and few in between because partly because it's very time consuming. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into doing things like this. Time that has to be pretty much taken away, from friends, family, you know, other work that you might have going on, other endeavors, sleep. It's a lot. Um, it's a lot of long, long nights with like little sleep, you know, and missing out on things because you're trying to meet a deadline that you impose on yourself most of the time, you know. So that's like a big part of it. But also, it's like it's basically being self-employed. So you're not working really for anyone else. You're working for yourself. Um, you're feeding your audience. Once you find that audience, you're giving them what they really want to see, hear, whatever, buy, take in, so on and so forth. Um, so you really kind of become like a person of the public, so to speak, once you get to a certain point, obviously, where there's like recognition when people like hear your voice or see you. It's just like, yo, I freaking don't I know you from somewhere? Which that crap doesn't happen to me, you know. I'm just speaking like in general from all the other like freaking content creators, that I listen to, that I watch, and so on and so forth. And I always found that part to be a little bit yes, challenging, um, interesting and whatnot, you know, which is cool. It's pretty cool, you know, to get to that point where people really recognize you would it'd be like amazing, but it'd also be like a little scary because it's like it's like you know me, but I don't know you, and that could be anxiety inducing, you know, but No, yeah, back to what I was talking about before. Like off on a tangent like all the freaking time, like no matter what. If I'm not like freaking scripted to say something, I'm like just constantly going off on a tangent, I guess. Especially when I'm just freaking talking to myself, so to speak. But it's like hip hop has been going on for over 50 years, you know, um, on record at least, you know, like in recorded history and all that stuff. Um, some people, they mention situations that sounded like rap back even earlier a little bit, but that's much less known, not really talked about. I've always been a person of history though, so I find that stuff to be pretty intriguing to say the least. Um, that's cool with me. But yeah, it's just interesting. But yeah, I was talking about like starting the channel and whatnot. The first video I put out was like DJ Quick versus MC8, like I was saying, like the end of October, probably somewhere like around Halloween or something. Um, and then I was like, you know what? I was kind of just like taking suggestions, like, oh, like what rap beef to cover next. And then I forgot the one I did right after that. I feel like it was crap. I gotta actually check. I don't remember. It feels like so freaking long ago. That's nuts. Let me check. Oh, I knew it. Yeah. After DJ Quick versus MC8, I did LL Cool J versus Cannabis because oh yeah, because those two uh rap beefs. Well, I wanted to start with like the '90s. You know what I mean? Because that's when I was born. And that's still like it's like the golden era. That's when some of the best rap songs ever were released. Some of the best albums. Like out of my top 10 rap albums, probably like five of them came out in the '90s, maybe six. I'd have to like check, but yeah, you know. Um, I mean, hey, DJ Quick released Dollars and Cents, one of the best diss tracks ever. So that was real easy for me to be like, oh, doing that one first. At the top 10 diss track to me, without a doubt. And then I was like, LL Cool J and Cannabis. That was also '90s. You know, LL Cool J, like hip hop's first superstar or whatever. Cannabis, up and coming rapper. You know, and it was just Cannabis released Second Round Knockout. One of again one of the best diss tracks ever. Like, I don't even know what the hell to say. Like, I remember I used to listen to it and I used to be just rapping like I forgot like the end of that last verse he had. Um, now watch me rip the tap from your arm. Something stick you for your vanguard award in front of your mom's um wife, um second born. Make your wife get on the horn. Call Minister Farrakhan. All that stuff, man, that was freaking crazy. I can't remember the freaking verse, but like offhand right now, freaking tired, but nuts, just freaking nuts. I feel like he just completely obliterated LL Cool J lyrically. So I was just like, you know what, I have to do it. You know, and that's another one. People, I didn't know about all the details about that one when I first was like really looking further into it and like compiling all this information. I was learning like so freaking much. It's not even funny, cause I mostly just knew about the 4-3-2-1 line and second round knockout. But then I was learning how involved Wyclef Jean was in it, and that Wyclef Jean had a diss track to like LL, and he dissed Cannabis, and it kind of turned into like this freaking triangle, like this freaking threesome. Pause. Like that was crazy. I was like, yo, I didn't even know it was like that. I thought it really just kind of stuck to Cannabis and LL. You know, like that was nuts. As crazy as like they both could rap without a doubt. You know what I mean? LL and Cannabis. So I always wondered why that video in particular didn't get more views. To be honest, it was one of the like lesser watched ones on the channel, like overall, even later on down the line, which was surprising because how big LL as a rapper is, like, and has been for like about 38 years now. He put his first album out in what, 95 or 96? Radio. I mean 80, I think 85 if I remember correctly. Um but yeah. Oh, then Common versus Ice Cube and West Side Connection. I put that out like a week later, and that one was kind of short. Wasn't too much to say about that, but once again, it had another one of my favorite diss tracks of all time. You know? So, once again, I was like, that was crazy. Common released "The Bitch in You." Amazing, amazing. Once again, I think that's also like in my top 10, and that's kind of how I was. That's kind of how I was going with it at first. Like with these first three in particular, because I was like, you know what? I was either like, and then once I started getting more views and I was getting comments and people were suggesting stuff, then I was kind of mixing it up a bit. Like, okay, let me look into this stuff that, people are like suggesting that they want to see and so on and so forth. But for like those first three in particular, I think I kind of just took like my favorite diss tracks and I was just like, let me look further into them and see what the situation was about. After those first three, I was like, let me do something for the ladies. So I went all the way back to the 80s, and I was like, let me do one of the very first female rap beefs ever, because the women need some love too. MC Light versus Antoinette. And that was another very short one. That was one of the shortest rap beefs I covered, like on the channel actually. It wasn't even like 10 minutes long, but had to do one for the ladies though, at least, and I had to go back to like the beginning, like mid 80s, late 80s, around there. And I never really knew, that's before my time, so I didn't really know much about it at all, to be honest. So that was really just like a lesson learned, which was cool, you know. Obviously, I knew of MC Light, but Antoinette, not so much. And then the fifth one, Cool Mo D versus LL Cool J. Put that out a week later. Once again, I was kind of just trying to have like a weekly schedule going, so I was spending a lot of time just focused right here at my computer, just like freaking researching, listening, typing away, recording, editing, boom, just trying to get it out. Trying to keep myself on a schedule, um, which was very kind of like time consuming, exhausting. But once again, this was in the middle of the pandemic still, 2021. So I mean, hey, a lot of people were home, not going out as much. It kind of made sense, even more so. But that was funny because that's where like the views actually started to pick up. It feels like, not sure why. I guess after like a few videos out, I guess, I don't know, the algorithm as they call it or whatever started like pick it up, and instead of just having like a few views here or there, or whatever, it started reaching like thousands. And I was like, oh, okay. Now this is, I was like, now we're getting somewhere. Granted, it was like another short one. I was able to do it pretty quick, but it was nice to see like some level of recognition and whatnot. People really seeing it, people enjoying it, people commenting, all that good stuff. It started getting like a bunch of comments, and people were like going back and forth, debating like who won, and I was just like, that's nice to see. As long as people are keeping it cool, peaceful, whatever. I don't mind like a debate. That's music is subjective. You might like a beat better than this person. You might like a line better than that person. So on and so forth. It's all cool. You know, just don't need people to actually be beefing in the comments over freaking rap beef. That's a little crazy. But yeah, damn. Then like the week after that, it was KRS-One versus MC Shan. I I decided I was taking it back to the '80s again for a while, because I kind of in my mind I was like, well, I started with the '90s, but let me go back, and then work my way to the '90s, because even though that's my favorite, probably, my childhood '90s rap and all that, I was like, we got to show love to the '80s. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, I know some people are doing this thing of just doing what's current and trendy and whatnot, but I was like, that's not me. I want to do something a little different. So boom, KRS-One and MC Shan, and that was a I didn't know what to call it. That was going back, because that took me all the way back to 1985 or 86, if I remember correctly. Once again, the mid 80s, um, which was crazy, because that is actually like one of the longest like rap beefs that ever has existed. Because I was like doing the research and listening to all these different tracks, and formulating the timeline and all that. And I was just like, how many times? Well, it was mostly, I guess, most of the tracks I would say were KRS Ones. But I was like, how many times did he diss MC Shan? Because it was a Juice Crew thing at first, but he stopped dissing all the rest of them, seems, and then just focused on Shan. And Shan had his, comebacks and whatnot. But I mean, I feel like if you ask most people, you know what they're gonna say. But I mean, hey, this is also another one of those rap beefs where one of my favorite diss tracks ever came out, and one of the original, one of the very first diss tracks that was like a hit, I guess you could say. Like pretty popular and was like getting played everywhere. Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One, put out The Bridge Is Over. You know, um, that's that was on my top 10 like favorite diss tracks of all time too. He did freaking the whole Juice Crew, Marty Marl and Roxanne Shante and MC Shan. Um, I forgot he had some lines I think for someone else on there too as well. But damn, that beat is just hard. Like, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? How hard that crap goes. Like, I don't know. And that one did okay too. I'm just really strolling down memory lane here, just like reminiscing. Like, holy crap. I did Lil Kim and Foxy Brown after that, because I wanted to take it back to the women, the female MCs and whatnot. And I was like, you know what? Lil Kim. I was like, I had to. And I thought honestly, I thought people were just gonna like freaking. Not gonna lie, I thought people was gonna kind of. I thought the women would like flock to that one because I was like, people love Lil Kim. She got the whole beehive and everything like that. Before Beyonce, Lil Kim had the bees, Queen Bee, all that stuff. There was all the raunchiness and all that good stuff. Freaking crazy. Freaking crazy. Oh my god. Like, it's nuts. But and then it wound up getting some views and actually doing okay. And I was like, yo, word, bet. The comment section, I think they were just kind of like lighting each other up because I feel like when you get around that, it sometimes be a little catty, and it's just like, I was kind of like, I remember there was a few people I was talking to at that time that I would like run my thoughts by, and I'd be like, what do you think, they'd be like, oh, yeah, I say go for it. And I was like, I feel like Lil Kim and Foxy Brown is going to get a lot of negativity. I don't like negativity. I don't think it was too crazy, but they had the people going back and forth. Like, it was nuts. But after that, Ice Cube versus NWA, because I said, we're going back to the 80s. We're going back to the 80s with this, because obviously this... Oh, wait, no, I covered... This was the first time I did, like, this is the first time I covered 2 rap beefs in one video. So this was, at the time, this was the longest video I was doing. This was a big undertaking for me. And I put it out, like, shortly before Christmas. That was crazy. Freaking real quick. Congrats on reaching a 10K. Thank you, Eric. It's been a long freaking journey, man. I'm telling you, like, and the journey isn't over at all. Like, you know what I mean? If anything, it's just getting started. It's like a brand new kind of, I guess you could say kind of like a revamp, things of that nature. Latricia, congratulations. I'm proud of you. Thank you. It's appreciated. I don't want to say I'm proud of myself. It sounds like freaking, like, patting myself on the back. And I'm like, nah. Q Smooth, what's up? Congratulations. Thank you, man. Freaking, it's freaking wild, man. I'm telling you. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'd be like legit getting sentimental and get emotional over things like really easily. So I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I achieved like one of my goals. I'm like, it's crazy. But then I'm like, well, this just got to motivate me to just keep going, honestly, and come back like next year and be like, oh look, it's 100,000 now. And maybe I bought a house off it too. That'd be freaking beautiful. But hey, it is what it is. But this was the first time I was just like, yo, I'm doing something extra. I said, screw it. I remember I thought about it. I was like, should I cover Ice Cube and his breakup from NWA separately and then do Eazy-E and Dr. Dre and the whole Ruthless Records and Death Row thing separately? I said, nope, screw it. I said, this one's going to be a little longer, but I'm going to do the whole thing. Pause. And that took a freaking while to do. Damn. But I still knocked it out pretty quick, actually, when I look at, like, the published date of everything, like, in chronological order. That was not bad. But I put that out in the middle of December. And then that is the one besides like the LL Cool J, no, not LL Cool J. What was it? Kool Moe Dee and LL Cool J. Yeah, this is the one that started actually getting more views. It became like one of the most viewed videos like on the channel. Like, and I was like, I'm not surprised. I guess people love Ice Cube. People love freaking Eazy-E. I mean, I got an Eazy-E shirt in my closet right now, actually, like that I be wearing sometimes. R.I.P. Eazy-E, of course. But that spawned, once again, like I said, I was like, I want to cover the beefs that have my favorite diss tracks first. So this one spawned freaking No Vaseline. No Vaseline is a top 10 diss track. Anyone you ask that listens to rap and has some level of knowledge, um, especially 80s and 90s, knows No Vaseline kind of set the tone for like um, diss tracks to come. You know, like Tupac with his diss tracks. No Vaseline did it first, honestly, especially as far as like West Coast and all that stuff goes. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty nuts. But and it didn't just have No Vaseline, which lyrically, like viscerally, dismantled a whole group, you know, of six, then fives, and four, freaking men, which once again is, you know, like I said, a bit of negativity to keep it 100, but um, really, I truly appreciated the fact that Ice Cube came directly at Jerry Heller, and he had the infamous line, "You let a Jew break up my crew," and like I talked about in that video, he was labeled anti-Semitic because of it, and that was um, 35, no, 34 years ago now, 33. It was like what 91, I believe, when he put that song out. So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. And then that's just one of the biggest diss tracks. That's not to mention the fact that when Ruthless Records and Death Row Records were beefing with each other in the early to mid 90s, whatever, Dre dropped F with Dre Day, and everybody's celebrating. And he dissed Easy E, Uncle Luke, and Ice Cube actually on that track. Some people forget that they threw a shot at Ice Cube, like in retaliation to No Vaseline, you know, and threw a bunch of shots at Uncle Luke over their situation, which I wound up covering like 2 years later. Like, you know, that's a good diss track, but it's not in my top 10. It's cool. Dre and Snoop did their thing, whatever, you know. Um, but Easy retaliated with Real Motherfucking G's, or Real Compton City G's for the censored version, which is once again in the top 10. It is a magnificent deconstruction of Dr. Dre as a person. And I feel like it's truly underrated at times because, you know, Easy E put out, Easy E was not known as a writer. It's well known that Ice Cube and MC Ren mainly were writing Easy E's raps until Ice Cube left. Um, and Ren went solo or whatever. You know, he had Gangsta Dresta writing his rhymes still. So Dresta wrote Real Compton City G's, and BG wrote his own verse. Pardon me, but I'm just like, that's screw it. Easy didn't write it. We all know Easy wasn't writing his rhymes, but the fact that that song freaking put it out on into the ether that Dr. Dre was uh, a woman beater. It's not funny. I'm not, that situation isn't funny. I'm not laughing at that. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that, like, it's just, there's a hint of irony. And once again, I'm going off a freaking tangent. It is what it is. But Easy E had some crazy wild lines in his songs, but he never had any like um allegations of like um domestic violence against him. He was just rapping a whole lot about sex, which I freaking love. So Easy, it's like my freaking spirit animal. Honestly, the stuff he was saying, I'm like, yo, you live my dream, man. Honestly, like, dude got like freaking 10 kids and everything. I'm like, he was getting in, you know what I mean? But like, like for real, like he had the line, Dre beating on D from pumping. No. What the hell am I saying? That's Tim Dog's line. Oh crap, that's from F Compton. Uh, Beating on a bitch don't make you a man. right? That was Easy E's line. Because from when he, oh damn, Tim Dog and Easy, I forgot both referenced Dre beating up D Barnes. But that was something I feel like kind of had to get called out because it wasn't just the one time Dre did it with Michelle, D Barnes, and I think two other women. Uh, and this isn't a freaking PSA for domestic violence. Like, I keep going off on tangents. But Dre kind of had that coming for um, the stuff he was doing. You know what I mean? Um, and I feel like that song kind of brought light to that, and I respect that. And Tim Dog's song F Compton because he mentioned it as well. You know, and I respect the fact that you had to, gotta, that wasn't cool, Dre. You know, and then the whole freaking sorry, I just love Real Motherfucking G's. It's just one of my favorite songs. It's one of my favorite diss tracks. I'm about to go listen to that right now, actually. Hopefully, it doesn't blare through my headphones and then wind up getting me freaking like a copyright strike or something. Like, there we go. Okay. I freaking love this song so much. It's not even funny. But where the hell was I? Going off on a tangent once again. But it's crazy because speaking of Tim Dog, that literally segues into the next one that I covered, like 2 weeks later, right after Christmas. Tim Dog versus Compton. That was the start of the East Coast versus West Coast beef. And I felt like I had to cover that after I just had spent all this time talking about like Dre, Snoop, Easy, Ice Cube, Compton. I said let me take it back to Tim Dog now because that was a underrated situation. Well, his diss track was underrated, and the situation was very under talked about, I guess you could say, because I was just like, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people falsely attribute the East Coast versus West Coast rap beef to Pac and Biggie, which is a big oversight that just isn't true. It's not reality. That's just what the media has pushed, and people have kind of taken it in. But when you do the knowledge, when you do the research, when you have the wisdom and the understanding and whatnot, you really can break it down and see that that whole situation goes back a few years before 95, 96, Death Row, Bad Boys. It just does. It goes all the way back to Tim Dog, basically. I mean, hell, you could even say it goes to MC Hammer and MC Search if you really want to do that, because MC Hammer dissed MC Search, from Third Base, and MC Hammer's from Cali, Oakland to be exact. MC Search is from New York, so you could say that's probably the first time a West Coast rapper dissed an East Coast rapper, but that's a separate situation. Tim Dog really is the one that made it. I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx. I am dissing Compton, the city that is on fire right now in the early 90s. From like Dre and Snoop, NWA, Dog Pound, Death Row in general, LA area, all that stuff, Long Beach, all that. So Tim Dog put out F Compton, and then he put out his whole first album, and that crap had like 5 tracks on it where he was dissing the West Coast. He dissed MC8, he dissed Michelle, he dissed, what's this dude's name? NWA. He dissed every freaking body. You know what I mean? So I mean, hey, Cardo, yo, what's good, dog? I'm just freaking shooting the breeze talking about rap because that's like my forte, obviously. the music in my headphones like distracting me now. Like, damn, I just love this damn song so much. They killed Dr. Dre and Snoop so bad. But no, I was saying Tim Dog spent like half his album pretty much just like dissing the West Coast. Not MCA, DJ Quick. He had a skit on there about him. He had a skit there dissing Michelet. He had F. Compton dissing NWA Michelet, like making fun of her voice because her speaking voice was so high pitched, but her singing voice was very like soulful and whatnot. And it was a pretty strong dichotomy. Like, it could be pretty jarring hearing one from the other. Honestly, like, it's nuts. But once again, that was like another one of my favorite diss tracks though, and it kind of went under the radar. I feel like compared to some of these other ones. And yet again, that's also another one of the first videos I feel like that actually like started to like really take off in a way and became like one of the peaks that I mentioned like earlier, you know. And I truly appreciated that. This is really reminiscent. Like, that's one, two, like those first 9 videos I put out between October to basically like New Year's kind of like set the foundation, I guess you could say, because I broke down like one of the first rap beefs ever on Wax, one of the biggest rap beefs to ever exist. First rap beef was like MC Lyte and Antoinette was one of the first ones, first female rap beef rather, you know. One of the biggest ones, Death Row versus Ruthless Records. That was freaking big. East Coast versus West Coast, once again, freaking huge. And that was the whole part of it. Those happened at the same time. Lil Kim and Foxy Brown, once again, the biggest female, that's the biggest female rap beef ever. Up until now, maybe Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, or Nicki Minaj and Remy, maybe. But Lil Kim and Foxy, they came out at the same time. They went to like the same high school or whatever. They were both from Brooklyn. It kind of made sense. That was a lot of I guess animosity. They went in the same circles, you know. Lil Kim and Biggie, Foxy and Jay-Z, Brooklyn, you know. The Diddy connection, no Diddy. Like, it all just made sense, you know. Damn, then Cypress Hill and West Side Connection. That one, that was the first one I put out for the freaking new year. And I was taking it back to like, I was like, what else happened in the 90s? I said, oh yeah, Ice Cube was in another rap beef. And he kind of lost. Damn. When you think about it, Ice Cube kind of lost his rap beefs except against NWA. That's the only one I would say he actually like won, because he dismantled them with No Vaseline. Their momentum kind of just went, you know. But his other rap beefs against Cannabis, I mean, I'm thinking of freaking LL Cool J, against West Side Connection, I feel like they kind of got the upper hand a little bit when they put out that Ice Cube Killer track, rapping over that same beat that West Side Connection originally used, and they had the Ice Cube impersonator. That threw me for a loop, because I was so lost. Like, when I first heard it, I was like, I'm confused. Why is Ice Cube dissing himself? I don't get it. I was like, why is he on a diss track dissing himself? I don't get it, man. This is weird. And then when I found out it was just an impersonator, I said, they found someone that sounds just like Ice Cube, put him on the track, and made it sound like he was dissing himself on purpose. I was like, damn, that is creative. I respect that, for real. Like, that's nuts. That's dedication. You really gotta, you really trying to, I give them credit for that, because you really trying to win. Like, and they were angry with it for a good reason, because they felt like Ice Cube stole their song. So I'm not even mad at them for that, you know. In his freaking beef with NWA, I was like, yeah, they're NWA. Ice Cube's getting ripped off. I'm totally with him 100%. This time, I'm like, yo, wow, now you ripping off someone else, man. Like, that's not cool. At least that's how it's appeared to be, you know. Some people could say it could be a coincidence, but uh, yeah, I don't know about all of that. Damn, then I did Prodigy versus Jay Z. That was actually pretty cool. I liked. That's another one I didn't know about a lot because I'm honestly not the biggest Jay Z listener. But Prodigy, I always felt like was go listen to the Infamous and like murder music, you know, and you know why Prodigy is really like criminally underrated, you know. Um, once again, another person that lost their life. Disease sucks, you know. His sickle cell anemia basically finally took him away from us. One of the most gifted rappers, I would say. Like he had a penchant for like I guess you could say telling stories, you know. It's nuts to me. But yeah, I didn't know he had this beef with Jay. I mean, because of Takeover, I knew because that's another misconception I wanted to clear up, and that's part of the reason I kind of did some of these. That was a part of it, is because I wanted to clear up misconceptions that like were kind of popular misunderstandings. Um, you know, Takeover was a diss track to freaking Prodigy, and Mob he dissed Mob Deep on the like, first verse and the freaking fourth verse, and I think the second verse if I remember correctly. He just dedicated the third verse, which was like twice as long or whatever, to Nas, and ended the second verse with that line: "As Nas, he don't want to Hove, no," but he was dissing Mob Deep. He put Prodigy in particular, you know, put him up on the Summer Jam screen. You know, saying he's a ballerina or whatever. Got the picture allegedly from who would they say it was, Ashanti or something like that, because she went to that same dance school that Prodigy's I think grandmother owned or whatever. You know, because I listened to Prodigy's audio book, his autobiography. I listened to it probably before I even did this video, so I learned a lot more about Prodigy as a person, as a rapper, and all of that, especially like including his beef with Jay Z and all that stuff. So I felt like, you know what, let me cover that. Um, and it seemed like people actually kind of liked that video too. I was a little surprised because Prodigy is freaking underrated. I feel like he doesn't get the respect he deserves because he's well, I mean, originally from Long Island, I guess, or whatever, but he represents Queensbridge in particular. Um, and when you think of Queens, you think of Nas mainly. Just like when you think of Brooklyn, you think of Jay Z, you know, whatever. Um, Still mad that freaking Brooklyn got like all the best rappers. Well, Brooklyn and Queens got like all the best rappers. Like what the hell, you know? The Bronx, we don't have like we got Pun. He passed so long ago. You know who else? Fat Joe. I'm like, damn. Oh wait, KRS-One. Okay, the '80s. Like we are originators, but what the hell happened? Like the Spitters somehow are on like Queens and Brooklyn. I don't know why. What it is about like islands or something. Damn. Or hell, even Staten Island, they got like half of Wu Tang. You know what I mean? And then the rest of Wu Tang is from Brooklyn too. So it's like, what the hell? Like, nah. Um, right after I did Prodigy versus Jay Z, I freaking had to do Jay Z versus Nas because I was like, they're freaking intertwined. Like, so I just went right back into it. same freaking same time frame. Like they happened at the same time. And Nas was beefing with Prodigy too. Actually, I just never. I forgot. I gotta add that to the docket, to the list. Nas and Prodigy had beef as well. Once again, he talked about that on his autobiography. Um, and that was a whole separate thing, but it happened once again at the same time as the beef with Jay Z. The late '90s, early 2000s had a lot of like rap beefs going on at the same time. I feel like, and it was really a time for like hip hop in general. Still the golden era to me. That's my childhood. Hearing all this stuff, not really fully knowing all the details, but learning about it years later is interesting. Part of it made me feel like I wish I was born a few years earlier, just so I could be a little bit older when some of these things happen, so I'd be more aware of them, you know. But when people ask me, like, how old are you? Oh, how old are you? You talking about this stuff? I'm like, I like history. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? Especially when I feel like a lot of the stuff that comes out nowadays is pretty lame, you know. And it's like it's damn near like hip hop reached its peak already. Not in popularity, of course, but in certain other regards, um, like listen to some of the storytelling back then. Has it been topped yet? You know. Well, let's go listen to Slick Rick, Nas, so on and so forth. You're gonna be like, oh crap, yeah, you know what I mean. But when I look at this, I'm like really seeing, damn, I was really like just heavy on New York outside of like the two situations I talked about, like in California, like the West Coast. And then right after that, I covered 3 6 Mafia versus Bone Thugs and Harmony because I think at that time frame, I was trying to um, New York bias, obviously, because I was born in New York, whatever. But I was like, I have not talked about any Southern rappers yet, or like even the Midwest. So I was just like, 3 6 Mafia and Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'll talk about it, because it's one I heard about them beefing. I've heard plenty of songs by Bone Thugs. Grew up hearing their songs on the radio and all that good stuff. And then I was just like, 3 6 Mafia, freaking heard about them too when I got a little older. They're the most sampled rap group of all time, I believe. Their production was ahead of its time, you could say, because they were doing this stuff in like the '90s and early 2000s, and their stuff is getting sampled till this day, making hits. Like, I don't listen to 3 6 Mafia that much, I admit, but I like recognize when they're doing these damn Memphis samples, like when freaking Drake does it. It ain't nothing new. I'm like, that's 3 6 Mafia. I listened to Mystic Styles, 1995. Like, come on now. I listened to some Project Pat songs, right, here and there. I'm like, I recognize this, Juicy J and DJ Paul production. I don't think they were the best rappers, to be honest, but on the beats, they was killing it with the sampling and the nuts. That's just what it is. Just freaking, it's nuts, bananas. It's freaking crazy. It's wild. It's ballistic. It's whatever you want to call it. It'll be leaving me flabbergasted. I just like, I don't know. It's heavy. It's intense. Go find a thesaurus and whatever else fits. Go find another synonym. But no, yeah, I just had to do it. But I'm trying to think about my thought process for the next one though, because I covered 50 Cent versus Cameron, and I was like, I don't know what the hell made me want to cover that as my first 50 Cent beef? Like, I don't even remember because that was like over 2 years ago now. What made me do it? I don't freaking remember because that was one of 50's beefs that was just honestly funny. Like, it was like all freaking jokes. I feel like they like he helped kind of like break up Dipset temporarily or whatever, but that gave us like the song "Funeral Music" or whatever by 50, which was like freaking jokes or whatever. And then Cameron came back with his freaking clownish self and put out Curtis and Curtis Part Two, which is freaking hilarious. Oh my god. Why the hell did I pick that one first? I don't know. I like Cameron. Cameron and 50 are both funny. That's the thing. They're both freaking jokesters. So that's what made it interesting. Cause I was like, these two guys beefing, they gonna clown each other, you know? And Jim Jones and Joel just left Cameron for himself. That was just I was like, oh man, come on now. And then after that, I did Roxanne Wars. The Roxanne Shante and all those damn diss tracks that came out, the real Roxanne, the fake Roxanne, the freaking the trans Roxanne, the freaking everything. Like that was probably the first actual rap beef on record because I believe that started like right before KRS One and Boogie Down Productions versus the Juice Crew. It was very close together, but it was I think Roxanne and whatnot was like right before. So that was like the first rap beef, you know, and technically the first female rap beef, I guess you could say, actually, even though some men were behind it, like writing and things of that nature. But damn, that's crazy. I and that the weird thing about that video was it was like the worst performing one that I ever like had put out pretty much. Even still to this day, I'm like surprised that people don't watch it honestly because I'm like it's the first rap beef. It's historical. Granted, I know not everybody's in history like I am. Perfectly fine, but yeah, that was just crazy to me. Then I kind of wanted to branch off and I started doing stuff besides rap beefs. I wanted to talk about some other things in hip hop. And then that's when I started. April 2022. No, the end of March 2022, I started freaking making like list of different things that were still involving rap and whatnot. Cause I was like, I said, there's more to hip hop than rap beefs, and people got to see that stuff too. They can't just get stuck on freaking diss tracks because there's more to it than that. And those lists, I was surprised, but they kind of just like fell flat as far as like people viewing them and things of that nature. But the people that did see them were like, "Oh, they're good." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, of course," because I'm still putting the time and effort and whatnot and the thought into these things, you know. And then I went back and did Eminem versus Benzino because I was just like, I have not. I don't listen to Eminem like that, but I was like, he's one of the most famous rappers there is. I should talk about him, even though I don't really listen to him like that. I was like, this is probably gonna be interesting because people were recommending it. I think at that time too, like people were like, "Oh, talk about Eminem and do 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 do," and I was like, "All right, cool, whatever, yo, I got you." Like, I was like, I gotta do heavy research for this because this is not who I listen to. Freaking, I don't listen to Eminem. Everybody knows that. And Benzino, freaking, no one really listens to Benzino. Just, it is what it is. But no, yeah, that's crazy. That that beef was unnecessary. Eminem kind of got upset that he didn't get like what he felt he deserved as far as Mike's like rating in the Source magazine, which at that time Benzino had
kind of like forced his way into like owning part of it or whatever, which is crazy. Like to just Bogard or Debo your way into like part ownership of a freaking company because the source was making money back then. That's crazy, you know. Um, this is like the mid late '90s or whatever. Speaking of the source, that wasn't even black owned. Once again, that goes back to what I said like an hour ago. There's not enough black owned hip hop media, and it's been like that since the source, which started in like what 90, 91, 89. I forgot. You know, hell, even Def Jam, Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons, and then Rick Rubin got outed, and Leor Cohen became like the president or CEO or whatever you want to call it, whatever his official title was. So once again, that goes back to what Ice Cube said. You let a Jew break up my crew. Stuff isn't black owned, even though we are the creatives behind it, collectively speaking. You know, African Americans, once again, um, you know, the ones really suffering in these impoverished neighborhoods and cities, communities, struggling and suffering and whatnot in poverty, to have the determination, motivation, inspiration, um, to really use this as a creative outlet, you know, to do something more positive than, you know, criminal activity and whatnot. So I always felt like that was weird to say the least, you know. Um, Chris Rock said it best on his stand up years ago when he said that only the white man can profit off of pain. Um, you know, but that's another story, you know. But no, yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna freaking go soon because I am freaking hungry. But yeah, that was like the first like few months, and that really like set the foundation for like what was going to occur, what was going to appear on the channel, how things were going to go moving forward. And of course, improvements were made along the way and whatnot. Oh, damn. Then I covered Lupe Fiasco's beef with Atlanta Records because that was the first. Because I was like, this isn't even a rap beef. This is, you know, a very talented man struggling with business. And I felt like Lupe Fiasco being one of my favorite rappers, I just had to do that. And then I was just like, let me take on a momentous occasion after this and go back to 50 Cent because this dude beats everybody. And I did Ja Rule versus 50 Cent, which became the longest, now second longest now, became the second longest video on the freaking channel because that crap was over 42 minutes long. And it took me like 2 weeks to do that, but I was like locked in, like just listening to so many diss tracks, so many interviews, reading so many articles, typing so damn much, starting in like 99 or whatever it was to freaking 2022 when I put it out. Like I was like, I think this is another one of the longest freaking rap beefs um to ever exist. You know what I mean? Like, jeez. And that became another one of the most viewed videos on the channel. Like, it it rose up and up and up and up, and then became like top five, top 10 viewed video. And I was like, I'm glad. You know, damn. But no, yeah, all these all these like big steps, missteps, you know, peaks, valleys, all that stuff. Basically, at the end of the day, the point is that it in this specific situation, of course, it it makes the channel what it is. You know, um, whatever your opinion of it might be, good, bad, indifferent, successful, unsuccessful, um, great, um, um, educational, whatever your perspective on it might be. It takes a culmination of all these things to really bring that, you know, to give you that perspective to begin with. That's why I always recommend people like, no, just don't watch one video or just don't watch one live stream or read one post and be like, you really gotta take it in um, and check out multiple, you know, because hell, start from the beginning and you'll really see progress and growth, you know, new things being tried, new equipment being bought. And for me, it's about improving progress and, of course, being pragmatic of return on investment, ROI, whatever, um, which does happen at times, which is cool, you know. But first and foremost, it's like hip hop is my passion above damn near anything else, I would say. Like, outside of love, I don't. Outside of love, it's like hip hop, and I love hip hop anyway, so it's right there, you know. Um, you know, sometimes you gotta see a gap because people say things are oversaturated. Sometimes you gotta see a gap and really um, find your way to fit in. Pause. You gotta get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? Um, and know what you have to bring to the table. Um, whatever that space may be. YouTube, X, Instagram. You know, a physical brick and mortar kind of business, whatever it might be. But it's really about how you present what you're doing and make sure that you do it well to the best of your abilities, and knowing about what people really want to see, which is kind of the hard part, I feel like, is really anticipating what people want, I remember at one point I used to just make polls. That's why a lot of these ones kind of seemed like they were random because it wasn't, I wasn't like thinking sometimes like, hey, what should I talk about? I would just poll the audience once there was an audience to poll. I'd just be like, hey, what do you guys want to see? Because that's just kind of person I am. I'm like, I consider myself pretty reasonable, you know what I mean, and agreeable to a certain extent. Um, so I was like, oh, what do you guys want to see? Pick one of these choices. Yo, I want to see da 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 da, and I was like, oh, cool, bet, I'll do it. And then I would just research, boom, put it out, and then see how it does, and then put up the next poll. I did that for like a year, actually, probably, and that's why sometimes there wasn't a certain, like a real, like progression, like that you could say like a pattern. It didn't look like there was a pattern because I was kind of like, whatever you guys want to see, are do. You just gotta vote in the poll, and whatever wins, I'm a fair sport. I'll cover it, even if it might not be what I personally would prefer to do. Because at the end of the day, the people are important, and I think a lot of people don't recognize that or don't care. I don't know. It's been weird to me though. Like, I consider myself a people person, but sometimes not a people person. But no, yeah, like, it's been almost 3 years on this journey, and I'm still going. and seeing progress is really actually nice. You know, I want to live stream more often because I like just sitting here chilling, shooting the breeze, and just talking, and you know, seeing who pops in, and you know, if they have questions, or just freaking talking about rap in general is that's a conversation for me that I just love. You know, I just do. You know, but no, yeah, there's so many. There's like so many that I didn't even like talk about, like that I covered. Like I said, there's like a 49 different rap beefs I covered. If you go look at other channels that also cover rap beefs, I don't know many that even covered that many, to be honest. You know, which is, you know, to each their own, of course. It's nothing like that. But big number 50 is coming up next. Uh, I would say pretty soon, probably. I gotta get to work on it and whatnot. You know, gonna be doing that crap. Well, nah. Technically, I already started, actually. So, you're just gonna have to wait and see which one it is. But it's gonna it's gonna be a bit of a doozy, as they say. I think it'll be pretty interesting, and of course, I hope everybody checks it out and you know loves it because I love it for real. But no, yeah, it's about to be an hour and a half. Yeah, I'm gonna be out of here in like 2 minutes. But yeah, I'm just like thankful for like all the viewers and whatnot. Honestly, you know, and I'm seeing how far I can take it. You know, support in all manners is freaking welcome. You know, whether that's people freaking watching, sharing it. Sharing is honestly important. Sharing is caring. That's the damn phrase. Like if you care, you freaking share. like yo, share that link. Pass that crap around. Pass the link like you would pass the blunt to the rotation. You know, pass it to the left one time. Pass the Dutchie to the left one time. Except in this case, you're gonna pass that link because it's much easier to pass a link than pass a blunt. So share that link to everyone that loves rap. You know what I mean? Let people know, like, if they want to learn something. Honestly, keeping it 100, that's what it is. You know? But besides watching, sharing, hell, freaking hit the like button. Subscribe. And then, of course, taking it a step further is just freaking, yo, use super chats, use super thanks, use super stickers and all that. All these freaking features that YouTube has and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Or freaking Patreon too. You know? Because sometimes we quite literally have to put our money where our mouth is and be like, phew. Of course, if people can afford that, you know, some people can't, and that's completely understandable. This economy's messed up, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day and probably for a whole nother channel because this is not finance and economics. This is hip hop. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that, and I'm gonna be out of here actually because I'm sweating not having the air conditioner on, and it makes a lot of noise. So I leave it off because no one wants to freaking hear all that in the damn background, you know. But damn. Oh. Thanks for joining, guys, and I'm gonna catch you guys freaking as always in the comment section or in Discord. Freaking join the freaking Discord server actually, like really reach me directly, you know. But I'm out.